So we have a 2010 Nissan Altima with a noisy front wheel bearing, and on the Nissan the hub and the bearing is one unit. See how it turns? Now the CV axle shaft goes through these splines, so to replace this we have to remove the axle away from the hub. Disconnect the brake line here. We got these ABS lines. The caliper bracket is held onto the steering knuckle with these 22mm bolts. I use wire cutters. They work pretty good on grabbing the remnants of the cotter pin. Okay, that's a 32mm bolt axle nut. You want to make sure that this moves back. Okay, this one's good. It's not stuck to the splines of the bearing, but if they are, what you want to do is use a punch tool like this, and then you want to hammer the axle away from, or break the tension away from the splines of the bearing. This is a 21mm nut and bolt. And if you just wiggle the strut, I'll just use a pry bar to separate strut from the knuckle. There we go. I'm going to use a hammer with a punch to push the axle out a little bit. Here are the 4 bolts that hold the hub bearing in place. So the hub is stuck, so maybe with some hammer taps it'll come out. Okay, I got a brass punch tool, and with a hammer I think I could hammer this out. There we go. I'm going to wire brush around these rusty contact points. Got to be careful not to mess up this ABS sensor. Now I use this anti-seize lubricant to prevent any future corrosion. When you mount the new hub bearing, you got to make sure that you got it lined up with the right hole for the ABS sensor. Like this position over here, it's below the sensor. Over here, it's right on the sensor, right here. What I also like to do is put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads of the CV. All right, this nut should be torqued on at around 180 foot-pounds. We're going to put the car in neutral, prevent the rotor from turning through the studs and a pry bar, and then we'll torque it to 180 foot-pounds. Okay, here's my cotter pin set. And we're done.